for Christmas and New Year, because I mean, it falls on a weekday, so we're gonna be here regardless.
Oh, before my dreams were shattered.
Yeah.
Yes.
By Swath. Swath?
I mean, Swath. Let her hear you.
No, I call her that. Swath. So, yeah. We're going to be here throughout the festive period. Yeah. You matter. Broadcasters' lives matter too. But in this case, for now, you matter. So, we're going to be here.
You always matter.
You always matter.
Don't mind, Gabriel.
No. I'm not even disputing, right? I mean... It's anything for you.
The question is, would they even have our time that day, or we just
some people still listen to radio
on Christmas Day?
Yeah,
it's okay.
Many of our politicians like to drop speeches here and there, and some will drop bombshells. I like the FCT minister. I look forward to his Christmas message. The FCT minister, yeah.
Something about it?
No, he's a very interesting man. So he's gonna say something, throw a diss at someone, throw a jab at someone, and then we're hitting up to the area council elections next year. Anyways, my point is, even if you're going to somewhere in Benue State, in Nasarawa State, in Kogi State, or far east, southwest, or south, or far up north, wherever it is you're going to, you can take us with you via the mobile app. We have a mobile app. Nigeria Info FM has a mobile app, so check out your Play Store, either Google or iOS, and just type Nigeria Info FM. You see our mobile app there, and you can toggle between different locations: Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt. We have Nigeria Info branches in all of these places, and even a website too. So yes, you don't need a radio set. But having said all that, welcome to the show once again. You're listening to the voice of radio's finest, Gabriel Spector, reporting to duty, and I've got the one and only. When I'm introducing Somi, I have to take it, gently, calmly. The one and only, the amiable, affable, delectable. Any other bull again? Indigenable.
Rest in Jesus' name. Just rest. You have tried. You've done your bit.
Somi for short.
There we go.
Somi for short. SOMI.
Good to be here.
Short.
Good to be here. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Abuja was running a little late today.
Yes, we are.
You're with us as well.
Yeah.
But it's all to make sure that you get the best of conversations. And we're going to be starting with the conversations right this minute. I think Gabriel's going to open up our first story for us.
Indeed.
Yes, so let's get to it.
Thank you for the honors. All right, ladies and gentlemen, looking at one of the stories, or the first story on the Big Three this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Reps legalize BVAS e-transmission of results. Reps legalize BVAS e-transmission of results. So, according to the report here on The Guardian, the House of Representatives approved a key amendment to the Electoral Act 2022, formally, that's a crucial word there, formally mandating the use of bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, and real-time electronic transmission of election results from polling units. The amendment also introduces a 5-year jail term for presiding officers found guilty of declaring false results. 5-year jail term. There's no I can't see any option here, 5-year jail term or this amount or the option of both, right? It's just 5-year jail term. The approval came after a clause-by-clause consideration of the report on, air quotes, a bill for an act to amend the 2022 Electoral Act presented by the House Committee on Electoral Matters. Now, the House adopted sections which have repealed the 2022 Act and embed stringent technological provisions. The House approved Clause 47, which now makes BVAS the primary tool for voter accreditation. We're going to get here in a bit, but I just want to highlight that in your mind. So I'll take that again. The House approved Clause 47, which now makes BVAS the primary tool for voter accreditation, replacing the smart card reader and allowing voters to present electronic identification, including downloadable voter cards with unique QR codes. All right? So the section now reads, and I quote, "To vote, the presiding officer shall use a bimodal voter accreditation system or any other technological device that may be prescribed by the Commission for the accreditation of voters to verify, confirm, and authenticate the particulars of the intending voter in the manner prescribed by the Commission." Now, he also says, still quoting, "Where a bimodal voter accreditation system or any other technological device deployed for accreditation of voters fails to function in any unit and a fresh card reader or technological device is not deployed, the election in that unit shall be cancelled and another election shall be scheduled within 24 hours if the Commission is satisfied that the result of the election in that polling unit will substantially affect the final result of the whole election and declaration of a winner in the constituency concerned." Somi, I need water.
I don't think you're going to need half as much water as me, because I'm you can call me what they call it, what's the word now? I'm about to nitpick this entire story. I'm about to just take it little by little and take it apart.
I agree with you.
Time will not allow me to do that before the commercial break. Let's confirm. Okay, we don't have a commercial break, so I'm going to get straight into it. But let me hear. I mean, you read the story.
Yeah.
What was it that made you parched? What took away your breath?
So now we're going to have more legal. What's it called? More legal clarification or explanation. But one thing is standard now. There is a law backing the use of beavers. Before, it was the INEC being proactive, or should I say being, forward thinking, progressive. That's what I was looking for. That was it. Now, it is a law, meaning the INEC now is as the umpire or the organizer of election in Nigeria. If the INEC doesn't deploy beavers, working beavers, in a particular polling unit, INEC has violated the law.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. First of all, this is the Electoral Act. What do they call it now? Yeah, the Electoral Act 2022 that is being reviewed and is supposed to be amended for us to have the Electoral Act of 2025. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As of 2022, correct me if I'm wrong, beavers was the designated device that was supposed to be used.
Right.
The bone of contention there was the e-transmission of results. And that was where Mahmoud Yakubu now started to, speak in a different tone when it came to the elections proper.
Mm-hmm.
Again, correct me if I'm wrong, because, sometimes, when something that is not entirely the greatest thing happens, for me, my mind does this thing where it blocks out the event. So my details may be a bit sketchy on the Electoral Act 2022 and how it was deployed in the 2023 elections. But from what I recall, beavers and electronic transmission of results were stated in the act.
Okay.
And so what the House of Representatives is doing now, for me, I'm just going to read, the statement again, and why I said I'm going to nitpick. It now says that for me, I think that there are too many gray areas, yeah?
Yeah.
The presiding officer shall use a bimodal voter accreditation system, which they used in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go ahead to say, or any other technological device that may be prescribed by the Commission.
Mm-hmm.
So while Nigerians might come away from this, when you first of all read it, and they're thinking, oh yeah, this is good, beavers, especially for some people, if your memory is a bit fuzzy like mine, we're like, didn't that already happen in 2022? They'll read this and they'll think, oh yeah, this is a good one. But then you have, or any other technological device that may be prescribed by the Commission. I go a little further down in the statement, and it says, where a bimodal voter accreditation system or any other technological device deployed for the accreditation fails to function. What classifies any other technological device.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm nitpicking here. Indulge me, if you will, and this is for the listeners as well. Fuzzy brain, maybe. Let's chalk it up to that. But part of the problem that we have in our law and its interpretations, and you see this in the Constitution as well.
Yeah.
You see a statement that is supposed to be clear,
Mm-hmm.
and then you now have right after it, you now have something that immediately blurs it.
Right.
What are the other technological devices that a commission is supposed to prescribe for the conduct of elections, especially as it has to do with voter accreditation and voting?
Mm-hmm.
If the BVAS, and again they said it here somewhere in this statement, that the BVAS is the primary, meaning that there may be secondary devices that may be used. And so I'm not thrilled with this information that has come out from the House of Representatives, because I feel like they should have questioned that clause that grays the area, talking about any other. And again, perhaps it's just me. What other technological devices were used in 2023?
No, you know.
And why is this coming up now? Why are we having or any other? Because what will now happen, I'm afraid, is that come 2027,
Yeah.
in polling units, they will say, oh, yes, BVAS is here, right? And then maybe one issue or the other, they will say, oh, the BVAS is not working. And then from out of nowhere, you will now see other technological devices.
Right.
Unnamed, unclear. We're not entirely sure how it works. Because in the run-up to 2023, there were testings and retestings of BVAS alone. Except, like I said, there was something else.
So
but my brain is just fuzzy.
you are very right to, because where I'm looking at this from is a little what my thoughts told the same path of yours, but a little higher, because I am looking at the part where it says if the BVAS in the polling unit doesn't work,
or any other
technological device or devices, the entire election in that polling unit is going to be cancelled
and rescheduled
within 24 hours. Now, every time election has been rescheduled in this country, first and foremost, the first thing that happens, you don't have the same amount of voter turnout as you did the previous day.
Say that again?
Anytime you have a rescheduled election, you don't have the same amount of voter turnout. It drops automatically. Meaning, if people come out to vote on Saturday, and then INEC declares for whatever reason that the election in that particular polling unit is termed inconclusive or has been cancelled, people will most likely not step out on a Sunday. Most likely will not step out. So now I'm just looking at this, and I'm looking at, like you said, is this really a plus for us as Nigerians?
Oh yeah, before we even answer that question, let me get into part 2 of my nitpicking. Because I recall, despite the outcry against the deployment of BVAS in the 2023 elections and how effectively it was deployed and how efficient they were as the required device for accreditation and voting, the major bone of contention by the time the 2023 elections were done was the e-transmission of results. Again, that is where Mahmood Yakubu came out and then now said things that now look like, oh well, INEC has the right to determine what is transmitted electronically and what is not transmitted electronically. And so the statement, this announcement here also seems to be addressing e-transmission of results. But for me, I think that's what the highlight should have been. And this is where you should have seen mandatory statements being made and also penalties leveled against when results are not transmitted electronically. Yeah.
Right.
So let's see what they say here. After the BVAS conversation, talking about if it fails to work, the election in the unit will be cancelled and another election will be scheduled if the commission is satisfied that the result of the election in that polling unit will substantially affect the final result of the whole election and declaration of a winner in the constituency concerned. They have introduced another if to that one as well, yeah? But we'll come back to that. Clause 60 also mandates that presiding officers will transmit results directly to INEC result viewing portal, which is IRF, in real time, concurrently with physical collation, and Section 63 of this Electoral Act as amended, according to the Green Chamber, now reads, the presiding officer shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to IRF portal in real time, and such transmission shall be done after the prescribed Form EC8A has been signed and stamped by the presiding officer and or countersigned by the candidates or polling unit agents where available at the polling unit. They also introduced the clause 62, which introduces strict penalties for falsifying results. But you see what I'm getting from this particular element of this conversation.
Right.
It should have been top, front, and center. It should have been on the front burner, because that was the major bone of contention in 2023. It was that INEC now came out to say, yes, there is e-transmission, but there was a but. So this is the core thing. I feel like just having it introduced into this conversation, the way it was introduced, is a distraction. And then you bring the BVAS conversation up front in clause 47, and then talk about how it's the primary tool and how there can be other technological devices deployed as agreed on by INEC. I think it's a whole mess. I think that perhaps the House of Representatives, members of the House of Representatives, need to really, really go back and look at that.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad move.
Which one? To say that it is primary?
Yes.
I feel like the act should stipulate what other devices.
Very true.
And where it's not stipulated, it is a grey area that can be exploited. Come 2027.
But why I say I don't think it's a bad move is because we needed, one of the things that we need to do in 2025, the election is going to be in 2027, by the way. 2027, only God knows how much more technological advancement powered by AI we're going to be seeing. A lot has been done already in 2025. In 2 years' time, so much more would have been done. So much more. You see a lot of private institutions flying on the wings of technology, doing amazing stuff. It is always our civil service. It is always things that concern the nation that are consumed in mediocrity. Because why I say I think it is a good move, but it is a drop out of an ocean of what we need to consolidate and have a very good electoral process. More than the BVAS, what has been done to ensure that there is enough internet coverage in hinterlands? Areas that do not, there are some areas in Nigeria, Somi, they do not have 4G. They do not, in Abuja here, not every area in Abuja here is 4G. Sometimes, when I'm in Lagos, you go to certain areas, you will see a particular board by a telecoms company and say this is a 5G zone. Meaning, if you're using a 5G device, you can now use 5G in those areas, not even in Lagos. So, some areas are still operating on 3G. In those areas, now they are saying that it's the BVAS, which is okay, which is good, because we cannot keep doing things that are cake way in 2025, 2027. However, what is being done when every polling unit in Nigeria at the same time are trying to upload collated results on the IRF portal? Are we sure it is not going to crash again? If it crashes, what happens? When the BVAS doesn't work, like you said, what are the other technological devices? It's a good thing that they even spelled it out, technological. But is it that somebody will bring a phone to now begin to confirm a voter's card? So this is not complete. It's a good move, but it is too, at the moment, if this is all that the House of Reps can give us, it is too weak. In fact, it just might create more problems. A new set of problems entirely.
As far as determining whether this is all, the report also made it clear, at least the headline also stated that they didn't finish their considerations going through the act. They're supposed to continue tomorrow, so we expect that we will be hearing more as to what has been amended by tomorrow. But for me, again, the key thing is what did Section 47 of the 2022 Act say, and what are we seeing in the amended Act that is going to be presented and assented to by the President, and what will become law. Section 47 gives legal backing for use of the Electoral Act, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, yeah, okay. Anyway, the way it's looking like I said, for me, the key thing was electronic transmission of results. They didn't give it enough focus. It's not really clear that is going to be the sole method of transmitting results from the amendment that they made. And then what I'm seeing as far as the amendment on the BVAS, I'm worried. I feel like it should be that BVAS should be the only, but then it makes it open, talking about any other voter accreditation technology that INEC deploys. If you remember, in the run-up to 2023 elections, there were issues with the smart card reader.
Right.
It was the smart card reader they were using before. It now became a case of, okay, let's use BVAS, step down the smart card readers. The BVAS technology, just like you said, in terms of improvement in technology, well, that's an INEC thing, really. It's not for debate on the floor of the House, but it's for the House members to determine that really and truly, whatever amendments that are making is something that is going to lead to the credibility of the elections. And for me, the in-transmission was not as well spelt out as it should have been. It wasn't as strong as it should have been. For me, that was the biggest.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there were no issues with BVAS deployment, but for me, the biggest concern was the concern around electronic transmission of results.
So, you know one thing, what I have been looking forward to so far in the electoral propositions of amendment in the Electoral Act, what I've been looking forward to is strict, lay down rules and regulations of engagement on the election day at polling units, spelt out concerning every single party, review the penalties, when I mean penalties, including jail term and fines. Some of the fines are still working with 1999 dollar rates. When you tell a politician you're going to fine him 500,000 naira, what do you mean 500,000 naira? For a politician in Nigeria now, they don't even give kickbacks again in naira. They do it in dollars. Dollars that you and I are complaining that there is no FX in our foreign reserve. They do in cash, not bank transfer. Dollars in cash. Tens of thousands of dollars is what they use now, as at now. So what I've been looking for, because like I would always say, any day, anytime, policies have never been the problem of Nigeria. It is the actors. The actors have been the biggest problem with every policy created in this country. The actors. So, party agent, because we saw it in Anambra State. It happened in Anambra State. Most likely, in Abuja here in February next year, we may see it again. So, what are the rules of engagement for party agents in polling units? This one talks about the presiding officer. What about INEC officials in a particular polling unit and how they should conduct themselves? Security agents on ground in polling units, how they should conduct themselves, and what are the penalties? A police officer represents the federal government, even if the president is a candidate in a particular election. The police officer works for the federal government, not for the president as a candidate. There are two different things. So when a police officer is found to be biased, what are the it has to be spelled out. Because if you don't have laws, rules and regulations spelled out, enforcement is dead on arrival. What do you want to enforce? So these are the things that we need to, these are the things I have been looking forward to. The actors, the players, all the parties involved, even voters. If you misbehave at a polling unit, what are the repercussions? Spell it out so that we all know, it is clear. We can use that to run sensitization, use to run campaign. This is what the law now says. But I doubt they want to go that route. Because you cannot drag party agents, you cannot drag police officers, you cannot drag INEC officials, and not drag politicians. And they all are politicians. So beyond the technology, because even the best of system, if you have flawed people will make a mess of it. Any system, flawed people who are their antennas are shooting out. They're just looking for how to mess with the law, how to mess with the process, how to make a mess of it, how to destroy it just for their selfish gains. They will make a mess of any policy. Let the US government come and formulate election policy. They will mess it up. So what are the deterrents for these guys in election? That is what I am hoping more than anything else. Beavers is okay, but more than anything else, there's got to be something. Let us review these penalties. When you are finding a governor 500,000 naira, for goodness sake, 500,000 naira. They give 500,000 naira now for money for petrol. What? Somi, why?
All right. Well, we're opening up the phone lines in a bit, but I think we can run through the other story that we have. So let's just look at that very quickly. First off, the federal government has confirmed the release of the Nigerian aircraft and the soldiers who were detained in Burkina Faso after a forced landing. Confirming the development yesterday night, the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Kimiebi Ebiemfa, said the aircraft and personnel had indeed been released. And this release is said to have come after the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Yusuf Tugar, led a delegation to meet with the Burkina Faso junta leader, Ibrahim Traore, in Ouagadougou. So after the press briefing, after the visit, or rather at the press briefing after the visit, Tugar was saying that the visit was at the instance of the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And of course, we all know the details of that incident. It would also had responses when it first hit the airwaves. One from the Director of Public Relations of the Air Force talking about how it was due to a technical issue that the crew had to land. Meanwhile, you had the Malian junta leader speaking on behalf of the Confederation of Sahel States, describing the landing as an unfriendly act out in defiance of international law. And I remember him warning that member states were authorized to neutralize aircraft violating their airspace, which turned out that has not been the case. At some point, there were fears of, continued detention of the soldiers and possibly even worse, consequences as a result of that. But perhaps some good news, as the aircraft and the 11 soldiers are said to have been released, according to the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimiebi Ebiemfa.
Somi, I've said this over and over again, right? I think we now know what the position of the AES, Confederation of Sahel States, we know what that position is. I think what they've successfully done, we can celebrate this as a diplomatic success. I'm not exactly impressed. We had Dr. Majid here, and he made some very salient points, which I totally agree with. The fact that, talking about Benin Republic, we didn't have any business there. But, here, the case was, according to the Nigerian Air Force, the case was the aircraft was on its way to Portugal, and it had technical issues, and that necessitated emergency landing. Now, according to Chicago Charter on International Aviation, right, any airplane that has emergency issues has automatic landing rights anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. Especially when the airplane says the word Mayday. So, this is an international norm that was used as a political tool. Mali, Niger Republic, Burkina Faso, in my opinion, they made a bold statement to Nigeria and the ECOWAS that we are not friends. That's how I interpret this. We are not friends. We are not you don't try anything around us. That's how I see it. So, but it's a good thing that our soldiers are back. Only God knows what happened while they were in detention. Were they drilled? Were they, were extreme forces used on them to get information? Only God knows. What must have happened? What kind of intelligence reports? What kind of... Because when things like this happen, a lot of negotiations go in. So what compromises have been made? Whatever it is, we'll have to wait and see what, come out of it in the future. But as far as I'm concerned, to Nigeria, to ECOWAS, their position is clear. We are not friends.
Well, some would say the fact that they got released means that there's still some level of civility between them. I don't know that anybody was under any illusion that the AES and other states in ECOWAS were still friends after they had removed themselves from the body. I don't know if anybody was under that kind of illusion.
Removing themselves from the body is one thing. No. This is an outright, like, you square up with somebody face to face and you bring out your hands like you set blow. Like you set blow with someone, you stand up, you said, this is what they did. It's not the same as removing themselves from the body. I think this is a step ahead. And look at it. They didn't release until the Nigeria sent an entourage to Burkina Faso to dialogue. So I dare say this is exactly what they wanted from the get-go, and we simply just played into their hands. Because if according to the Nigerian Air Force, it was established that the plane had emergency issues. Again, except...
But what the Nigerian Air Force says is different from what because, some people still think that, it was just this emergency landing, but you had the response from the Air Force being different from what the AES representatives were talking about. It was a forced landing. Forced, meaning that, it's not that we are having technical issues. Because again, I remember when that story broke, I kept asking the question, if there are emergency situations that call for you to land within someone's airspace, I believe there's air traffic control communication that goes on, that seeks for permission to land. And so if it was really and truly that, then I believe that's the procedure that should have been followed. Again, there was no clear explanation as to whether they followed that procedure, but I with my limited knowledge and understanding, expect that is what will have happened and they will have given permission. But their response, the AES response, said they forced that plane to land. Meaning it was going on its own way. They spotted it and said, hey, you come down here.
When it comes to aviation, diplomatic aviation issues, the choice of words is a very... They are very, very technical choice of words when they are used. So I agree with you. But now I'm giving NAF the benefit of doubt. And I'm looking at this issue from the angle of NAF. Let's assume, according to NAF, that's why I kept saying according to NAF, that it was actually technical issues. When, on that note, if you're going to debunk NAF beyond a statement, what else was done to debunk NAF's? Because it was not a case of my word against yours. NAF said it was an emergency landing. They said they forced the aircraft to land because you're now in, unwanted space. So what else was done to prove the fact that it was not an emergency landing? They didn't do anything. Maybe they felt like they didn't need to. Because, again, citing the Chicago Charter on International Aviation, right, which every country that has that uses the airspace has a signature in, you cannot ask, and that's why the Nigerian Air Force said it was emergency landing, because they knew what they were doing. So I hope it is not lie. I hope that's the truth.
And whatever the case is, I think we're past that now. They've gone, negotiated, they've gotten them out.
So I promise you.
What else could possibly come out?
I promise you, it is the beginning of a chain of reaction. I promise you.
Okay.
You see, if we have to wait, if we have a leader, a president who is bent on revenge, a revengeful president, Burkina Faso under Traore is in for drama.
What could possibly happen?
I do not know, but I'm telling you, the way you see the way let me use the word global politics happens. It's a case of sheer force, power, domination, sizing up, just the way it happens between human beings. Sizing up, looking in the face of someone that you'd consider is bigger than you. So what Traore is doing here, and I'm just saying I could be wrong, but what I'm saying is, when you do stuff like this to Nigeria, Burkina Faso is not Nigeria's mate.
I don't understand.
Hold on.
In what context?
In the context of nation size, military might. I don't know if you are following, Somi.
I'm trying.
Okay, my point exactly is this.
I was good until you said they're not mates.
No. Nigeria is not Burkina Faso's mate. In terms of GDP, in terms of military might, in terms of landmass, everything, right? So Burkina Faso doing this, I'm saying that there is more to this than just, they are back home. Okay. And I'm saying that I see a chain of reaction setting up from this, except there is some very intentional, concerted effort to ensure that the diplomatic ties are repaired. Because now look at it. Why does the US keep sanctioning certain countries? And it cannot, till now, there's a limit, even with all the sanctions. I mean, we're talking to Dr. Majid yesterday. The US keeps doing business with Russia till now, despite all the things Russia has done in Ukraine. But it goes to some other country like Mexico. Mexico and the US, it's like firstborn to the sixth-born. It's like, in fact, there's a better relationship between US and Brazil as compared to US and Mexico, or US and Cuba. So that's what I was trying to say when I was talking about the might of a nation under a particular leader. The way Trump will respond to bilateral issues is not the way Biden will respond. It's not the way Obama would respond. So I'm saying, if we have a revengeful leader in Nigeria, Burkina Faso is in for it.
All right.
But I don't know what the president is going to do.
I mean, at this point, there's so many possibilities going by your explanation. So I guess we'll just wait, popcorn in hand, and see. But what I will have,
Jumbo Park.
What I will have expected is that because Nigeria, Nigeria went out of their way to send a delegation there.
Right.
They sent a delegation. It wasn't one man. They sent a delegation. I expected that they had a lot of explaining to do. And they were able to do that explanation, and they were able to convince Burkina Faso, so much so that they let the aircraft and the soldiers go.
And I'm saying that
I believe that there will have also been diplomatic concessions made on that table of negotiation that, we shouldn't be expecting any other kind of fallout.
And I'm saying that in global or regional politics, such negotiations are not done on mere explanations.
There
must have been some negotiation. Burkina Faso must have demanded for certain things in exchange. It's just like hosting.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why I said diplomatic concessions will have been made.
I wonder what kind.
So if a Burkina Faso, for example,
is it financial aid?
If a Burkina Faso, for example, says, okay, you need to give us this and this and this, because and considering everything that happened, emergency landing or forced landing or whatever you want to chalk it up to, there was a violation of their airspace, and so they are the ones who were slighted. And that is why I feel like Nigeria went all the way, sent a delegation there. And it is Nigeria that would have more likely made diplomatic concessions to be able to get those people out. Because the repercussions, if they hadn't gotten them out, will have been, too drastic and even more damaging. And so I feel like the negotiations that happened there will have been something that maybe would get Nigeria and Burkina Faso a step closer towards mending fences, as opposed to having a situation where they will come out and the Nigerians
would the democratic
we have come out, we're coming for you.
Would a democratic president championing democracy in Africa try to mend fence with a military government?
Let's go on a break. We'll have to come back and answer that afterwards.
Christmas approaches.
Audio Jungle.
And they followed through. At least someone did, because the Delta State High Court sitting in Orerokwe yesterday issued an ex parte injunction stopping and barring the IG of Police and the Nigerian Police Force and the Commissioner of Police, Delta State Police Command, respondents in the matter, all from resuming the enforcement of a tinted glass permit policy nationwide. The court also barred the police from harassing, arresting, detaining, or extorting citizens and motorists on account of the said policy. The court also restrained the IGP and NPF, their officers, men, agents, privies, and/or contractors from continuing to use a Parkway Projects account, a private contractor's account, to conduct any government business pending the hearing and the determination of the substantive application in the suit. The order, is said, will subsist pending the hearing and determination of the substantive suit. Trial Judge Justice Joe Egu made the orders in an ex parte application brought by Mr. Israel Joe, and the plaintiff was represented by Mr. Kunle Edu San and many other lawyers. And by this order, the announcement made by the Nigerian police on its decision to resume the tinted glass permit enforcement on the 2nd of January has been halted by the court. It remains to be seen what follows after. We've seen instances where judgments by the court are not really followed through, are not really honored, but January 2nd it will tell. But this particular order is nationwide. And so whether FCT or FCT Police Command, anybody by order of this court is said to cease and desist from enforcement. All right, let's open up the phone lines. 0700951 0000, 0809 4869 and 0809 993 0137. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Hello.
My name is Malcolm Blues.
All right, you have a minute. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. Quite an interesting story, the very first one from the House of Reps as to the Viva story. That's what I want to concentrate on this afternoon. You see, I ask on this same platform, I ask us, say, what is the sense behind, say, we do electronic whatever accreditation, electronic registration, but when it comes to re-voting, we go back to analog. You remember I asked you this question, Abby?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. So whatever it is that the House of Reps is talking about, how does, after we do that mandatory BVAS whatever electronically, and the re-balloting, we go back to ink and paper, how does anybody transmit an election done on ink and paper electronically in real time? I'm yet to know that one. Because it is, okay, when we go do that ink and paper, somebody have to count first and then impute a figure. Is that now be electronic transmission? Why don't we use the same electronic devices we were talking about for accreditation and registration? Why don't we use it for casting the ballot at the same time so that the transmission can be electronically as me I know it? Because whatever it is that is done on ink and paper, I don't see, even if you take 1 year, except you could take, say, you want to go scan them or whatever, but if you say you want to transmit something on ink and paper, so me and Gabriel, at least me and high school, I did education on that.
All right, let's pause it there for now.
Okay.
You've done over a minute, so we can take some more calls. We have messages as well to run through on Facebook here. Ode John, we see you. Thank you so much for the compliment. Ima Musa Churi, well done as well. Thank you for tuning in. Good afternoon.
Gabriel Spector and Abene Somi. My name is John. Good afternoon.
Go ahead, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, please. I heard we're discussing concerning electronic transmission. I think electronic should remove all the bottles of collection, both from what level, local government level, state level, and come straight to the, if it is going to be in Abuja, that will have the center final collection. It will remove all those bottlenecks, because I know if votes are actually counted, entered in a sense in the result sheet, votes, those results are normally changed on transit. So, but if the National Assembly have said that it should be electronically transmitted, that means as I am voting, it's counting already. And Nigeria cannot tell me that we have not reached up to that place. even when there is no network, when they finish at the polling unit and everybody is there, they counted the vote, they now say upload it. Immediately upload it. It will be showing. You don't need.
Hello. Oh dear.
Network.
Your network. But thank you. I think we got a lot of what you said to an extent. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I am Olatunji calling from Cuba. I greet Mr. Gabriel Spector.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Clearly, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Go on, please.
Okay, my own contribution, my worry is like Nigeria is so unfortunate that Nigeria's constitution only contains of subsection to enact order. And I think it's supposed to be extended to address the necessity of approach in the sense that this electronic technology to be used. Otherwise, if this the other machine is at fault, by that 2 years coming in the next election, if it comes to something to come and test on the field, may not necessarily solve this issue. And I think one fact again is that on that election space, the way the place used to be, I think that will be a privilege taken because of this inactive of electronics, because of the place, rowdy, and the situation, the privilege can be taken. So there is no any conditional or situationally addressed issue concerning this order, because some are stated like they will be punished. I think those are the orders. There are no necessity of approach. Do we have security on ground? In a case of election grant, how ready is it? Can we be able to identify even the voters they want to take advantage or privilege over this false technology being used?
All right.
On one side.
Oh, we're gonna have to stop on that one side. So sorry. So let's give other people the opportunity to call in. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Welcome.
Yes, my name is Obi. I'm calling from Kuje.
All right. Welcome.
Now, following on the footsteps of the two previous speakers concerning the beavers and the electronic transmission of votes, is the House telling us that we have not reached the stage where we can have real-time voting? Instead of going by the corner beavers, the electronic transmission, and giving room for somebody to manipulate the results before sending it out. Why can't we, in the same breath, have a system where after the accreditation, you vote on the same electronic equipment, and it will read that your voting will read everywhere you want it to read, in the INEC office, in the party office, in the agent's office, at the same time, so that there be no possibility of somebody erasing or revoting, or somebody sitting down somewhere and planting his votes on 1,000 cards and come out and transmit that as the result. You know, they are still giving room. They are still making room for fraudulent practices in our voting system. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Very good question. Very good question. Which a country that is serious about its electoral process would look to do that.
Samisa from Suleja says, good afternoon, guys. I think you are missing the point here. For me, what has been done is that they have empowered INEC to use any digital tool they deem useful and probably more effective as times change for its election. The BVAS, as good as it is, will soon fade away in terms advancement in technology, just as smart card readers went away then. And INEC will now update this in its election regulation guidelines, which usually comes out several months before election dates. The only thing I want to see is the mandatory transmission of results immediately after elections. That's the main thing, he says. Let's take this voice note.
Gabriel Spector and Madam Somi. My name is Harry, doing this video from Abuja. I just laugh. As Madam Somi say, they will spell it clear and all of a sudden they will make it blur again. Nigeria constitution is like an instruction given to a husband, thou shalt not sleep with any other woman other than your wife. But in a which is a commandment too, they will now say, but in a situation where you are cold and you are all alone and your wife is not there, then that is how the constitution is. There's always a loophole, a lacuna So it cannot be relied upon. Nigeria constitution needs to be overhauled. That's the truth. We need a new constitution. Thank you.
All right, you want to take the messages there?
Okay. Well, quite a number here. Adebari Awodoye says Gabriel will be more. Okay. All right. Thank you for the kind words. Moving on. Israel says 5 years jail term is too short. We're talking about daredevils who are ready to take any risk for money offers. You can't mention just 5 years to them and to make any difference. Gabriel, I validate your concern, but in the 2023 elections, the performance rate of the Beavers was high enough to give us free and fair election. In fact, we had it until Yakubu Mahmoud's unfounded declaration of technical glitch on RF, which only him, his paymaster, and a group of religious fanatics know. Our focus should be more on the person of the INEC chairman, because you can only get a credible outcome with a credible leadership of the election umpire, Israel. Well, I agree with you on some sense.
But he's bound, whoever the chairman, we already have an INEC chairman. That's bridge has already been crossed. But he's also bound to whatever amendments are being done on this act currently.
Yeah.
He would not act outside of the act. And that's why, like I said, I was nitpicking, perhaps. Perhaps my own is too much.
All right. Olalehe Babalola from Katampe has a deep grasp with the APC government and making allegations. Unfortunately, I cannot read this message, but we acknowledge the receipt of the message. Olalehe Babalola. Moving on. Here is Manso says, if it's emergency landing that means the plane is faulty, that means the plane is faulty, right? Now, was it fixed before they left? See, Nigeria is no more African giant at all. It's just a joke, Manzo says. Good afternoon. It says, please, I would like to know what exactly Gabriel is trying to say about the delegation sent to secure the release of Nigerian Air Force personnel. Should they have been left there? I don't understand where he's getting at. Sometimes you stoop to conquer. Well, yeah, you're right in that sense. Nigeria did the right thing to secure their release. And so, me, for the record, Nigeria is not Burkina Faso's mate, Olufemi Victor. Now, Somi, permit me to react.
What's it boss say?
So, first and foremost, let me tell you exactly where I'm getting at. And I never said, and neither would I try to suggest, that it was bad of us to go and get our soldiers out. It's good that we get them out. It's good that we get the aircraft out. Now, the aircraft, like somebody just asked, did it proceed to Portugal as intended, according to NAF, or it's back in Nigeria? That's detail I think we're not given. Now, my point exactly is, beyond the news that our soldiers have been retrieved, they're back in the country, we're looking at deeper issues concern. And I'm saying this shouldn't have been in the first place. I am saying Burkina Faso is part of West Africa. They've put out of ECOWAS. But now, this singular act, if you look at it on surface level, you might not see much to it. But by the time we begin to unpack this event, it says more volumes than just soldiers. Now, if you're going to have ECOWAS missions, or most likely ECOWAS missions, let me make it a regional thing. You're having ECOWAS missions around West Africa. It means that what they have done here, they have made it clear that Burkina Faso airspace is not is a no-fly zone. It's a no-fly zone. That's what this is what they've just said.
For any other states that's not within the alliance.
Do you understand? Yeah. So this speaks bigger volumes than just our soldiers were stuck, we got them back.
And based on that, what you see, with these people getting out, the delegation and all of that, is that it's not the end of the story. It's to God be the glory, expect part 2. No, it's not to God be the glory, it's expect part 2.
As that, if you can see the part 2.
Okay.
Because at the moment, like I said, nowhere in the world is it done. When they held back the soldiers, I am telling you for a fact, Burkina Faso, the government on the Traore was up to something. What they wanted is what they got. In that, a Nigerian delegation went there to negotiate. Negotiation is not done by word of mouth. Something had to be given. Something had to be let go. What is it? We do not know.
Hence, I think that's where the listener mentioned stooping to conquer. I think as far as the speculating, we'll just leave it at that and like say, expect the part 2.
Last statement I'll make on this issue. Mm-hmm. Standardly, when I made the comparison between Nigeria and Burkina Faso, that Nigeria not being Burkina Faso's mate, all things being equal, Baba, I'm telling you, it should have been a phone call. Bro, release my soldiers. But it took 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
And a delegation.
Granted.
All right.
Enough said.
Let's see. Good afternoon, guys. Nice hearing from you, Somi. Thank you. Fresh Prince from Wuse2 says, talking about the BVAS issue, no matter the amount of amendments from both chambers, the court will be there to give its own final interpretation. That's Nigeria for you. From what you read, it's still not clear to me, I must say. Somi and Gabriel, good afternoon. Mike from Abuja says, on the Burkina Faso matter, Gabriel, please, can you tell me Tinubu's foreign policy? Kindly mention them. Remember their response when Tinubu, as ECOWAS president, placed sanctions on them. Says they openly mocked him and reminded him of the electoral processes that brought him to power and called him an illegitimate president. When a leader knows his worth, people treat him with respect. But this one, all right. Clinging to France that others have rejected. Nothing will happen, Joe. My noise they will make last. You think Burkina Faso? Okay. Good afternoon, Somi and your colleague. Please don't let us deceive ourselves. Burkina Faso is a sovereign country, and Nigeria cannot bully them, especially when they have the backing of Russia. Sometime in 2024, 4 French intelligence agents were arrested in Ouagadougou on charge of espionage, and France was forced to negotiate, including payment of a certain amount of money for their release. I hope this incident will teach us a lesson. Yusuf from Zuba says.
Yusuf, you're very correct in the statement where you said, I hope it will teach us a lesson, because I think that we should have been more tactical in things like this. So I hope...
Weren't you the one that was suggesting the Senegalese route? So they should have gone through longer route, nevertheless.
Yeah. I mean, that will cost us more, but that's by the way. But I am telling you that this is how a military government moves. When you cited the instance of the France, operatives, and then they were seized to. A military government, many times, in cases like this, doesn't have a lot of cash to work with. Many times. They don't enjoy the kind of, because now they're on the Burkina Faso is under sanction within West Africa, where within its neighbors, and that is why there's now a stronger alliance of Sahel states, right? You would not have the amount of cash flow that you would have if it's a democratic government. And so what they begin to do to remain in power, to keep sustaining, they begin to look for extra ways to get cash. And this is what I'm one of the things I'm driving at.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
This is Nigeria Info.